Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The morning sky over Nairobi can often look deceptively calm. But on July 7th this year, well, the air wasn't just calm. It really crackled with this urgency. You could feel the tension.
Yeah, it was palpable.
This was Saba Day. Now, that date is etched pretty deep into Kenya's history, right? It commemorates that big 1990 uprising.
That's right. The one that really galvanized the push for multi-party democracy. A huge moment.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to dig into some compelling sources. Saba, Kenya's Day of Reckoning, and Voices in the Smoke. Saba
It's
Tale.
two really insightful accounts.
Our mission here is to try and unpack what these sources tell us about this year's protests. They felt, well, unprecedented in some ways. We want to look at the generational shifts, what's really going on, and what it all signifies for Kenya right now.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how this historical day, usually about commemoration, became this intense backdrop for the current unrest.
Exactly. How did that happen?
Well, the sources suggest that the memory of 1990, it sort of created this fertile ground, almost like a historical blueprint for protest, you know?
Okay.
So this year, the immediate trigger, they didn't just spark something new. It was more like lighting a fire on ground already soaked in historical significance. It made the protests feel, well, not just current, but part of a longer, ongoing struggle.
Right. Rooted. And as we get into these sources, the question of what exactly lit this particular fire comes up sharply. Saba. Kenya's Day of Reckoning points pretty directly to the death of blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody. That seems to have been a crucial spark.
A really shocking incident. It definitely fueled weeks of unrest leading up to Saba itself.
And the picture painted is, under this intense Nairobi sun,
Yeah.
you've got young Kenyans converging,
Yeah.
especially Gen Z activists.
Yes, very visibly Gen Z. In places like Kamukunji, Kangemi.
And the sources highlight this is an accidental, the Gen Z prominence. You've got high youth unemployment, they're digital natives, they organize differently.
They're a unique force, absolutely.
Their banners weren't just like generic signs, they were making direct demands. Justice, accountability, even calling for President Ruto's resignation.
Very direct. And the chants, you could hear echoes of the old democracy slogans, but there was this renewed fervor. It felt really urgent and deeply personal this time around.
But those chants, as the sources detail really meticulously, they were met almost immediately with, well, overwhelming police force.
Yeah, the shift was sudden, from chants to chaos.
Water cannons started up, tear gas canisters flying,
Like firecrackers, one source said.
and then the sound of gunshots. That's a serious escalation.
Extremely serious. And Voices in the Smoke gets specific here. It talks about masked officers in plain clothes.
Right, and alleged hooded enforcers. Even local gangs drawn into the mix.
It sounds like a real breakdown of order. Roads blocked, shops pulling down their shutters, just chaos erupting while officials were, well, silent.
And this disruption wasn't abstract. The sources really bring home the personal impact.
They do. They give specific examples.
Like Kamau. He's a 19-year-old university student. Voices in the Smoke describes him weaving through this thick smoke, eyes red from the gas.
Just trying to navigate the scene.
And he's clutching this sign. Simple, but powerful. End brutality now.
And then the story takes that awful turn.
Yeah, his friend, Wambui, she's right there beside him, and suddenly she falls. A single shot rings out of the J. The source says it felt close. Too close.
Harrowing.
She's screaming, clutching her thigh. These aren't just statistics, are they? They're specific moments the sources use to show the reality, the danger, and frankly, the courage of these young people.
Absolutely. Puts a human face on it.
And it wasn't just Nairobi, was it?
No. Similar scenes were unfolding elsewhere. Eldoret is mentioned specifically.
What happened there?
Family picking through damaged shops, ambulances struggling to get through streets, shattered windows everywhere, reflecting people just in shock. It was widespread.
The human cost you mentioned. It's just grim.
It really is. The official count, at least as reported in the sources, was at least 31 dead, over 100 injured, and more than 530 arrested.
Huge numbers.
And there's this one detail in the sources that's incredibly poignant. It describes wounded protesters and police officers lined up together in hospitals.
Wow.
United only by pain, as the source puts it. What do you make of an image like that?
It cuts through everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It highlights the shared trauma, maybe. Voices in the Smoke seems to use that detail to challenge any simple us versus them narrative.
Right. It forces you to look at the bigger picture, the systemic issues, not just point fingers.
A moment of clarity amidst the chaos captured right there. And this obviously prompted responses. The National Commission on Human Rights.
Yes, they condemned the violence, the loss of life, called for accountability from the police, from the government, from anyone who unleashed that violence.
Okay, so we've covered the grim numbers, the immediate events, but the sources keep suggesting there's something deeper driving all this. What are the underlying grievances? Beyond the immediate triggers, what's really pushing this generation to risk so much? It feels different somehow.
That is the crucial question, isn't it? And both sources, Day of Reckoning and Voices in the Smoke, they really converge here. It's not just one thing. It's a cumulative frustration.
A buildup.
Exactly. This is a generation that feels, well, fed up. Fed up with broken promises, broken dreams. They keep seeing the same stories. Bloggers dying, families losing loved ones in protests, hunger rising, wages stuck.
It's personal, too.
Critically personal. They see their own economic futures just evaporating. So it's not just about what happened on that specific Saba day. It's about this pervasive sense of betrayal that's been building for decades in some ways.
But what are they demanding?
They're not just asking for apologies. The sources are clear. They want structural change, economic opportunity, real police reform. Transparency, like full transparency.
It's about fundamentally changing how power works, how it serves the people.
Precisely, a fundamental shift.
And the official response. How has that landed?
Well, President Ruto, according to the sources, remained publicly silent on those specific demands coming from the streets.
Interesting. Silence.
But internationally, the pressure started mounting. Calls from the UN, various human rights groups, all urging respect for freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, basic rights.
And what about the unofficial response? From the people themselves?
That's another really compelling point the sources bring out, the power of that raw, direct voice. There's this informal chant spreading in Nairobi's backstreets.
What does it say?
Tumekuwa tumeona, sasa tunataka kuona nguvu yetu izingati.
And that translates to?
Roughly, we've seen enough. Now we want our voice to be heard, or maybe now we want our power to be recognized. It's potent.
Wow. That's powerful. A statement of collective resolve, born right out of everything we've been discussing.
Directly from the experiences detailed in these accounts.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it feels clear that this Saba Day wasn't just another date on a calendar. It's a story of pain, yes, but also power. It really signals that Kenya is at a crossroads.
Definitely feels like a pivotal moment. The wounds from that day, they run deep. You can feel them reverberating through families, communities.
And the sources make it very clear. For many of these young Kenyans, this isn't the end. Not by a long shot. It feels more like the beginning of a larger struggle.
A struggle for justice, for solidarity, for a different future.
Which leaves us, and you, with a pretty crucial question to think about.